Younger brothers of Reddit. Why are you hitting yourself? What's a movie nobody hates? Who's an internet famous person that needs to go away? Andrew Tate, absolutely. Get that guy out of here. The whole 5-Minute Crafts company for creating complete dangerous lies nonstop. I saw them plant banana seeds once. The guy on TikTok sticking his tongue out when eating something. Edit. Kosick on TikTok. Poppy Kosick 1 on Instagram. I'm glad I don't know who you're talking about. Anyone that uses their kids for likes and views. Adults may bug me, but they can make their own decisions. Kids can't. Is Onision still a thing? If so, he needed to disappear about a decade ago. That family that adopted the Chinese kid, raised him for like 3 to 4 years, discovered he had disabilities, and gave him away so they could find themselves and help him lead a better life. Except the person that gave him to is now using him on Instagram for their own exposure and greed. The Stoffers are the ones that you're thinking of, specifically Micah Stoffer. Andrew Tate. Trisha Paytas. I used to think she was funny, but she's unhinged and a compulsive liar. What do you believe is the root of all evil? On the Western Front, all is peaceful. One of the few books I can say influenced me is this one. Like truly incredible movies do. It left me feeling a little hazy for a few days after. If offered immortality, would you accept it? And if yes, why? If you accept immortality, you are a psychopath, or you don't have anybody in your life. Only if it has eternal youth with it and an exit clause. Depends on your definition of immortality. If it's like Tolkien's elves, where you just don't age, but you can still be skilled, then yes, I'd do that. But if you're literally indestructible and will never die until the end of time, then no. Not without an exit clause. Every human on Earth is dead, you're still here. The sun is out, you're still here. Heat death of the universe, still here. Yeah, I'm curious how humanity ends. No, that's literally the worst thing imaginable. Now, if it was immortality until I choose to die, then yes. Yes, but under the condition that once the last human dies, I'll be sent to another universe in which humans are alive. It's like being offered the chance to finish the movie, but then you have to rewatch it 100 times. More than happy to log off after Act 1. What is the greatest TV show theme song of all time? Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It has one of the best bops I've ever seen, so I'm gonna have to go with that. DuckTales, of course. Very valuable candidate. Greatest American hero. 90s X-Men. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I actually changed my mind about Foster's. This is the one. The Muppet Show theme song. Malcolm in the Middle. Pokemon. No, as much as I love Pokemon, which, by the way, I do, there's only a good handful of theme songs from all of Pokemon, and the original one is not one of them. Let me tell you that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Game of Thrones. It may have ended badly, but the score was freaking awesome, especially the opener. BoJack Horseman. What's political, but really shouldn't be? Human rights. Access to clean, safe drinking water. News sources. What generation someone belongs to. Whatever goes on in my bedroom between 2 consenting adults. School lunches. Protecting the environment. Daylight savings time. Get rid of that. I agree. Daylight savings time sucks. Pablo. Oh, you motherfucker. Don't bring Pablo into this. What's a foolproof excuse to skip a party? Oh, this will be great for when I get invited to a party. Never. In the wise words of Phoebe Buffet, whoever that is, I wish I could, but I don't want to. Phoebe's brutal honesty also featured in Sorry I'm late, but I left late. I wasn't invited. My mom said no. Sorry. I don't think that's gonna work for me as a 24-year-old man. Can't really do that. If you don't have friends, you can skip all the parties. Just say you're not feeling very well. Leave it at that. Yeah, if you want them to know that you're faking it. Explosive diarrhea. You don't need a foolproof excuse. Set your boundaries and decline the invitation. I'd come, but I don't want to. Which celebrity went on the fastest, hardest, and most destructive downward spiral from their peak? Aaron Hernandez played tight end for the New England Patriots, fresh off a new contract, killed his friend, found guilty, then took his own life during the appeal. TJ Miller called a bomb threat on a train he was on when he was rejected by someone he was trying to flirt with. I remember when he had a meltdown on Twitter over people's reaction to the Emoji Movie. That is not the hill you want to die on. The defending the Emoji Movie part. Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes. I remember watching She's the Man and thinking, wow, she's one of the few child actors who avoided the crazy spiral. I could not have been more wrong. I don't know if anyone said this, but Shane Dawson? What's something that people turn into their whole personality? Here in the Netherlands, people who live in Amsterdam base their personality on Amsterdam. Have you met the New Yorker who is now an expat in Amsterdam? We all have. Their job. The generation they're born in. You just don't get it because you're not a 90s kid. Said by someone born in 1998. Hey, I was born in 1998. Let's calm down now. Only 90s kids remember this. Girl bosses / MLM cult engagers, and social media. You ever see a police officer's wife? It's crazy, but they turn their entire existence into being a police spouse. It's very odd. I have two neighbors that are police. The younger the wife, the more intense the alternate reality they create for themselves. The husbands never mention their profession, but the wives can't shut up about it and try and prove how much they know about local law enforcement. Same for military wives. You will address me by my husband's rank. No the f*** I won't, Cheryl. How about you shut up? Your husband's cheating on you. Probably. Harley Davidson should be much higher. Loving Disney. Being a boy mom. If you could say one thing to your mom and dad each before they conceived you, what would it be? Mom, pick someone else. No way in hell am I going in that room to talk to them. Mom, babies are not pets. Dad, nobody belongs to you. Stand on your tippy toes. I'd like to be a little taller, please. In about 7 years, I will swear to you that I don't need to pee when we get in a long line for a ride at Knott's Berry Farm. I'll be lying, don't listen to me, and forcibly take me to the bathroom. Otherwise, I will piss myself right as we are being led onto the ride, and it will be very embarrassing for all of us. Also, please feed me more vegetables and water and less junk food and soda. It's really hard to eat healthy when you're raised on junk as a kid. Get ready for the hardest year of your life. He will get meningitis as a baby and almost die, but he will be perfectly fine. Also, you should invest in Microsoft and Apple. Just focus on the one you already have, says every younger sibling. Don't name me Karen. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Don't. What is the most disgusting thing that you've ever seen in public? In the corner of the outdoor patio of a bar, a guy was vomiting while smoking a cigarette and taking puffs in between heaves. After he finished, he took a piss on it and went back to the bar for another drink. Alcoholism, 100 out of 100. Was at Walmart with my dad, and my father is someone who makes it a point to always wipe the carts down before he uses them. This particular day, we had to go to the customer service section, and in front of us was a family of 4. What I assume was the father had this huge buildup to a sneeze and blew out everything in his nose into the palm of his hands. He looked at it for like 2 seconds, then proceeded to wipe it off on the handlebar thing of the shopping cart. Most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I will never miss a day of wiping off my shopping cart before I use it. Walking past the McDonald's in a Charing Cross late one night. A drunk man pulls his trousers down and has extravagant diarrhea against the window, and the guy sitting in the window seat vomits at the sight. Saw a lady walking and turds started to roll out her shorts. Didn't break stride, just kept walking. I was at a public beach with my family one summer. We live in West Michigan. Every town has a nice beach. I love the beach, the water, everything, but one of my favorite things is to dig my toes into the cool, moist sand. This time I did exactly that, and then I realized that the sand didn't feel quite right. It wasn't cool enough, and it was very, very squishy and something tickled. I looked down, and to my horror, I saw that I did not stick my toes into sand. Instead, I was ankle deep in the slimy entrails of a warm, rotting fish carcass. The tickling sensation came from maggots crawling up my leg. I jumped right into the lake and then went promptly to the car. I can still feel that phantom squishy sensation if I think hard enough. It traumatized me. Was at Chuck E. Cheese. Chucky came out and had 100 kids in a frenzy. Threw a million tickets in the air. Unfortunately, as he threw the ticket, some young kid projectile vomited everywhere. Kids didn't care. They dove through the vomit and gathered the tickets like they were gold. Ew. Seems like the 90s. Bus driver coughing up the contents of his lungs and expelling them all over the bus floor because there was just so much gunk. He got taken away by ambulance. I once saw an old lady fall under the tram with her intestines stretched from one station to the next. I may be able to find an article about this, but it's in Polish and it happened something like X years ago. Guys, imagine that you are the last male person on Earth. Women will still remain. What will you do? Learn that even if you were the last man on Earth, sayings were pretty true. Ask government to declare me exotic, a protected minority. Hide behind my wife. Disappoint. Oh, buddy. Do you need a hug? Can we all give this guy a hug collectively? Apologize profusely. Are you Canadian? I'm an Australian that has seen my face. Just accept that my balls would become way too important and no other part of me will matter. They made sperm banks for a reason. I'm just gonna vibe in my room and play Black Ops 2 Zombies. Spend a lot of time opening jars. What happened at work that made everyone quit at once? I worked at the KFC in the 80s. We had a really cool manager. I was assistant manager along with another, and lots of other great young people worked there. Our manager was hired to turn around the store and he was given a budget to buy new equipment. He also saved money on paper products and got the store really clean with our help. By the end of the year, he was fired by the upper management for spending too much. Then they brought in a new manager who immediately set about giving us all a hard time. Everyone walked. The store had to shut down for several days and the new guy brought in his family to help run it. They later shut the store. The store shut down permanently a few years later. The district manager offered me a job in management, but I just didn't trust them at that point. Worked at a chain pizza place. The manager didn't approve of how well we cleaned and prepped for the next day. So we all came in to a note saying something to the effect of, "You were all replaceable." So we all said okay, took off the uniform and left. We didn't even lock up or close up shop, just walked off. Phones were ringing for orders. There were people coming into the dining area, but nobody there was working. Once she realized nobody was there, she was calling everyone, going nuts, telling us to come to work or we're fired. One person went back and tried to save it. I just reminded her that I was replaceable, and so was the person who signed my check, then hung up. They had to close for about a week or two to replace the staff. The location completely closed and filed bankruptcy less than a year later, at least partly due to her leadership. The location is a Verizon store now. When the manager said they could train monkeys to do the job, so all the staff retired, and they had to halt operations until they hired 2 staff to be on call all the time. Guess how long that lasted? Probably not that long. I would say, a couple days, give it. At a salon, the owner kept stealing money from the till to buy crack. Okay. One day he fired a beloved employee for calling him out, and we all walked out at the same time in solidarity. At KFC, it was my second week there, and I noticed the smell coming from the potato wedge warmer. Nobody else noticed it, and I asked if it could be moved to clean. Everyone said no, but the manager kind of looked surprised and said, yeah, it does move. Has no one cleaned it? So we moved it maybe a few inches, and what seemed like a million maggots crawled out of it. We closed the store immediately, and were all told to clean it. Eventually, every inch of the kitchen floor was covered in maggots. You couldn't walk without hearing the awful crunch squish. Most people left. Me and one other person stayed. So not everyone quit, but most did. Also, the store opened the next day. Don't eat there. Americans! What do you think is the weirdest thing about Europe? The history. Can't wrap my brain around that. I live in a farmhouse built in the 1920s, and that is considered old. Homes in Europe are generally built of brick and slate, or a similar style roof. They tend to last hundreds of years. Most, and I mean 90% of the homes in my town, 30,000 people, maybe 10,000 houses, were built between 1700 and 1930s. I always say us Europeans laugh about what Americans call old, while Americans laugh at what Europeans call a long distance. The sheer grasp of language I've seen from some Europeans is wild. Back in the early days of Minecraft, I used to play on a server with an English kid and a German kid. The English kid would randomly speak Welsh, and the German kid could jump between German, French, and English all the time, and I was there like, guys, I can barely English. Can we dumb it down for the Yankee? This guy is gathering data. Those toilets with the shelf directly below your butthole, so your poop is just sitting there in a pile above water, like you're supposed to inspect it or something until you flush it. The audacity of some of the civilians. I once watched a man in Greece drive his moped into the hotel lobby to the elevator, press the button, drive it in the elevator, press the button as the door closed. He just smiled. The hotel receptionist just didn't seem to mind. I'm sure this isn't common, but it was a new one for sure. The first floor is actually the second floor, either paying for the bathroom or not refrigerating your eggs. What's an unexpected perk of carrying extra fat? Resistance to hypothermia, starvation, and exposure. I once fell pretty badly, and my doctor said the only reason I didn't break multiple ribs, I only ended up with bruised ribs, was because of my fat. So I guess I'm glad for that. My cat also likes sleeping on my belly. 205 pounds dropped to 135 pounds. I am constantly freezing. Stretches out the wrinkles. Fat don't crack. There are a lot of stories of fellow fat blokes surviving being stabbed multiple times because of the amount of fatty tissue. In the ER, we call this urban body armor. I spent my 20s and early 30s constructing urban body armor. No one will ask you to go jogging with them. Thank God. Harder to kidnap. That is true. As a fat man, I have never been kidnapped before. You can float incredibly easy in water, very buoyant. Redditors who almost died. What happened? Slept through a house fire. Ended up with 85% burns. Spent 14 months in hospital, during which I had pneumonia 3 times. Lungs collapsed and had cardiac arrest. When I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I got IV sedation. The next day, my IV arm was a little sore, and the next day it was more sore and a little red. So I called the oral surgeon, who said it was fine. Just take some Advil. The next day, it was more red and more sore. Same advice from the oral surgeon. The next day, the redness was tracking up my vein, and the oral surgeon said it was fine. The first nurse, on the other hand, firmly said to drop whatever I was doing and go straight to the ER. When I got to the ER, they skipped me ahead of everyone in the waiting room and straight back to put different broad-spectrum antibiotic IVs in each arm, and started me on a third one in pill form because I had a blood infection. I specifically remember them saying something to the effect of, "We don't have time to figure out what it is, we just need to kill it." Everyone here saying spine-chilling stories. Meanwhile, I simply had a cardiac arrest while I slept. How are you still alive? I literally live in front of a hospital. Doctors were real quick once my mom called. When I was 3, I tripped over my shoelace and dove into a marble table. The table shattered my nose and skull. It also fully exposed my eye all the way past my temple. They had to remove pieces of marble from my brain. The doctors told my parents to start considering funeral arrangements. I'm now 34. I was bathing in a closed room with a gas water heater that was on because someone else was showering. I woke up naked on the kitchen floor with my parents standing over me looking freaked out. I got gassed, and they had to break the door down when I wasn't answering their calls. Healing from a severe concussion, I lived alone and was unconscious for 2.5 days. No food, no water, no meds. My bladder finally forced releasing brought me out of it, and my legs were all mottled. The next day, as I was still processing what had happened, one of my toes was still discolored. Ray. My bowel movement the day after I came to was blood-filled. Everything in my body had started to settle. With the absolute need to pee pee and realization of peeing the bed hadn't brought me to, there's no doubt I'd have died. Was 4. Tornado was happening. We went into one of those metal pipes you see in a ravine for protection. Too much water gone into my nose. Drowned. Woke up with an old man reviving me with mouth to mouth. What's an immediate red flag to hear from HR during a job interview? What would be the lowest salary you would work for? Absolute minimum that you can tolerate. What a nice way to make a possible new employee feel appreciated. Work hard, play hard. Translation. Prepare to be worked so hard that your only options will be to quit or become a high-functioning alcoholic. I interviewed for a job recently with a small startup and they asked me if I had any questions. I told them work-life balance is important to me and asked what a typical workday looks like for their employees. They told me that was a risky thing to say in an interview and most startups would consider that question a red flag. I said I didn't need to work for that kind of company. Good on you. You gotta get that work-life balance. Like if I'm working like 80 million hours a week and I have no time to be at home and spend time with my dog, I'm out. I got nothing for that company. You'll wear a lot of hats. We're gonna make you do the work of 3 people but only pay you for 1. We have a hard time keeping people in this role. People realize this job sucks and bail out quick. Fast-paced work environment and we're a family. A lot of restaurants through the years, can you start tonight? Means they are super understaffed. One time he asked if I can start now. Like interview's over, hop on the line. If you leave before 1 year, you owe us $10,000 that we had to pay the recruiter. This actually happened. No, I did not continue the interview process. If money wasn't an issue, what would be your profession? No, easy. I'd be a Pokemon YouTuber. I'm already almost that. Kinda. Whatever. Drummer in a shitty band. Gardening. I'd really like to have more time and energy to learn more about it. I would want to be a florist. Is eccentric rich layabout profession? No, it's not. Underwater archaeology. Cottage dweller and personal chef for myself. Hosting and teaching Dungeons and Dragons games. Would be nice to have the ability to learn all the books cover to cover and use that info 4+ days a week as a job. Foley artist. I know there's a lot of training and work that goes into it, of course, but it genuinely sounds extremely fun. Definitely my dream job. Permanent student. I want to learn how to do everything. Hey, this guy doesn't want to leave school. What a nerd. You're stronger than I am, buddy. I couldn't freaking do that. I could barely do 2 years of community college. What was hot until you experienced it? The center of my microwave dinner. Edit. Holy crap. Thank you all random stranger for my first silver. I live in Texas and thought our summers were hot. Then I went to Phoenix, Arizona and my flip-flops melted on the pavement. My virgin eyes reading everything here. Yeah, with a username like Jaw Nation, I'm not surprised you're a fucking virgin. Holding the one ring after Gandalf took it out of the fire. Sriracha. It was not even close to what everyone was saying. OMG, it's so hot. Yeah, sriracha is not hot. It's spicy and it's garlicky and it's good. A cup of coffee, which I thought was cold. Climate change is too damn hot. Anime fans. What part of the anime community do you find cringeworthy? Take a shot for every answer is My Hero Academia. I wish we could book club talk about anime without infantilizing ourselves, each other, or the material. Like, there seems to be an entire ocean separating fans of a show and the fandom. Not that you can't roll or cosplay or write an entire anthology of fanfic, but there's a thirstiness that just never goes away. The death threats and the amazing amount of hate some people have when a series doesn't go their preferred way. Power scalers. Let me enjoy my action animes without hearing how they would lose to Goku. Most of them would not lose to Goku. Anyone from Bleach, any of the important people, like the soul people, whatever. Jotaro Kujo could beat Goku. Almost any JoJo protagonist. Saitama from One Punch Man. Any of them. That the actor talk as if they were in one. I did it in high school, and I hate every second of that memory. Gee, didn't see you there. That lunch you have looks so kawaii desu. Shut the f*** up! Honestly, if you've been to anime-related meetups, the lack of social skills is almost not a surprise anymore. People who say Japanese phrases in the middle of a random conversation. Yeah, don't be a baka. I can't. I love conventions and all, but y'all seriously need to learn to wear deodorant and learn how to cover up them large butt cracks. I swear, I'm about to buy a bunch of deodorant and start handing them out at conventions for free. Was in an anime club in high school. They needed help and Jesus. They were delusional and some went to Japan believing it was the same as the anime they watched. I think that I will say weebs. Okay, I get it. You like anime, but can you talk about something else for 5 minutes? People who Naruto run. I hate how they try to translate anime facial expressions into real life. Nothing more unsettling than seeing adults act like teenage anime characters. What lifelong, inconvenient, non-lethal curse would you bestow upon your enemy? The feeling of a cobweb across your face every single time you walk through a doorway. Every fart has a little poop come out. Not a full explosion, just enough to leave everything uncomfortable and swampy. You're a sicko. What the hell? I wouldn't wish that upon anybody except maybe Zach or Robin. Your toast is never done properly the first time and it burns the second time. It constantly feels like they have a stone in one of their shoes digging into their foot and rolling around. The other shoe will constantly make squeaky fart-like noises forever. I'm going barefoot. I'm going barefoot if that happens to me. Always feeling like they have to pee, but they get no relief. You know that sensation when you have to go and it's annoying, but you can put it off until later? And it always feels great. And it always feels so great when you do. They get to live with that not quite full feeling for the rest of their lives. The complete inability to tell a lie. No matter what food they happen to be eating, all they will ever taste is plain white rice. May your phone, tablet, PC update itself when you're in the middle of something important. May you just barely miss every goal in your life. That's fricked up, dude. You can only sleep 5 hours a night. You won't feel rested. You just can't sleep more than 5. Every time they blink, a random Instagram filter is applied. No matter how much money they make, no matter how much they budget, they will always be 1 penny short of breaking even. Thou shalt be left-handed, except when it would be convenient. Laughs and left-handed, laughs and ambidextrous. What is a sentence that is extremely insulting to you? Anytime someone random says, hello, big guy, if they call me big guy or big man, you don't know me, and the first thing you're gonna say to me is comment on how I look? F you. We both know that I'm right. God damn it, motherfucker. If I thought you were right, we wouldn't be arguing at this exact moment, especially for the times he isn't. You don't know what a mother is. My mother. What a self-burn by your mother. Something that is a direct insult on my work ethic, calling me lazy. I have a long fuse, but I have lost my shit a couple times over it. Whenever you have something good going for you and someone says, must be nice. Oh, it is. Let that sink in. End of conversation. Louder for the people in the back. Louder for the sinks in the conversation. Please get your testicles out of my coffee. I'm so sorry that some insensitive a-hole said this to you. Get over it. Makes me furious. When apologizing, I'm sorry you felt that way. That's terrible. I'm sorry you felt that way. Get over it. Please, just get your testicles out of my coffee. Must be nice. Who is the most physically attractive fictional character? Matt from Wii Sports. Peak male physique. The entire cast of the game Hades. Shell. The Road to El Dorado. Aphrodite, by definition. Kronk. I think we'd all pull Kronk's lever. Yeah, maybe a couple times. Meg from Disney's Hercules, and I will die on this hill. Handsome Squidward. My could not live next to Squidward. Hot Priest. Fleabag. Flynn Rider. I heard that the people responsible for his design asked women what they found attractive in a guy. Lilo's older sister. Shang from Mulan. What's a movie nobody hates? The Emperor's New Groove. How to Train Your Dragon. The first one. I've never seen someone hate Mean Girls. That's a lie. I know plenty of people that hate Mean Girls. It's not a great movie. Jumanji. The original, even though the newer ones are amazing too. Shawshank Redemption. Oh, those first 10 minutes will always soften the hardest of hearts. Edit. Based on the replies, turns out you are either a heartless paperclip or a human being. There is no in between, you guys. Monsters Inc. Shrek. Listen, guys, I got a lot of hate on a video because I said Shrek isn't funny. I didn't mean the movie Shrek is not funny. The movie Shrek is really funny, but all of the memes, like still going around, like Shrek is love, Shrek is life, anything Shrek related in 2022 that's not like from the movie, it's cringe, guys. The movie is great. I love all of the Shrek movies. The memes are not funny. Toy Story. Back to the Future. Oh yeah, I love them. I love the movie where the dude kisses his mom romantically. Awesome. Pirates of the Caribbean. What isn't worth the effort? Trying to change the mind of someone who never had the intention of really hearing your words out in the first place. They wait to speak instead of listen. Online arguments. I beg to differ. Then beg. Spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on a kid's birthday party. My mother is the manager of a catering company, and on the food alone, this family spent almost $6K. The kid? Yeah, she was turning 2. Tinder post-COVID. Yeah, I also noticed that. I'm just not sure why it feels so much worse now. Any theory? A job you truly hate. Even if it pays a bit less, get a different job. It's not worth being endlessly unhappy. Watching 2 unskippable ads for a 15-second clip. Pistachios without a split. Folding a fitted sheet. Younger brothers of Reddit. Why are you hitting yourself? Because our mother's message of, one day he will be bigger than you and stronger than you, does nothing to dissuade the thinking of someone who is still living very much in the moment. Fucking lol, OP, great question. I guess we're just asking for it. I would also like to remind all younger siblings that I'm not touching you. If I swing my arms around and they happen to hit you, that's your fault. Technically, you hit me, and I'll tell mom exactly that. As the oldest sibling, I was constantly wondering this myself, because my 2 older sisters were mean to me. So I took a pair of scissors and gave all their Barbies crew cuts. Didn't work though. I just kept hitting my I just kept hitting myself harder and getting farted on. In true big sister fashion, he told me I was adopted too. That was so funny. I was a middle brother. Things were complex. Don't! Because my parents didn't learn from their first mistake. Guys, we're done! It's over! Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Goodbye!